Hey everybody, Record Store Day, round 4. The list is out for Black Friday. What's on it? What's on my list? Stick around and we'll dive in. Alright, earlier this week, the list for Record Store Day Black Friday came out. Printed my copy out. I've been taking a day or two to digest this, kind of figure out what interests me, what I'm looking for, if anything. Obviously, been a crazy year with Record Store Day getting bumped and ultimately becoming 3 separate drops in August, September, and October. The October one's still to come. But Black Friday event still on. This one's always, I guess, a little bit more subdued than the main event that's normally out in April. Typically significantly fewer releases. A lot fewer, I guess you could say, exclusive releases. The list is usually broken down, or it's always broken down into 3 separate components. Your Record Store Day exclusives, the ones that supposedly are, one and done, never to be seen again. You have that smaller group of regional releases or smaller quantity releases, and then and those can be maybe repressed at another time. And then you get the RSD first releases, which maybe they come out in a variant, or maybe they get a really quick drop and then wider distribution down the road. Typically, I've found, at least with the things that I've been interested in, when it comes to Black Friday, there just seems to be a lot more on the Record Store Day first list. I think they're just trying to get shoppers in the door and then get people interested, and if you can't catch something right away, it'll at least come down and be available further down the road. So list came out, gave it a look. I think it feels like the last few years, whether it's Record Store Day or Record Store Day Black Friday, my initial reaction is there's not a whole lot here. I'm not really seeing a whole lot. And then once I actually sit down and digest it and start reading some of the descriptions, I start to realize there's probably a few more things here that interested me than maybe I originally thought. I think I have about eight total items on the list. I mean, it is an interesting mix of releases. The exclusive list has things from like Alice in Chains, Nick Cave, Jerry Garcia Band, Dave Gilmour, Hootie and the Blowfish, Jefferson Starship, Motorhead, Willie Nelson, Elliott Smith. There's some regional releases. Like Best Coast has a repressing of Crazy for You. Not a whole couple Pete Yorn releases, and then the Record Store Day first list significantly larger with releases: the Bangles, Beastie Boys, Chris Cornell, DMX, Herbie Hancock Trio, a lot here. A little ODB, Public Enemy, John Prine. So quite a bit to choose from. So I gave it a pretty good scan and tried to kind of figure out what I was interested in. It was kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I think I only have one thing I saw on the exclusive list, 2 things on the exclusive, and then the rest on the other list. So just to kind of give you a sense, one thing that I'm looking at is the Mick Fleetwood and Friends Fleetwood Mac 12-inch. I think it's a split, what you consider to be a split 12-inch single. It, I believe, is partially from that tribute to Peter Green that Mick Fleetwood organized earlier. Was it earlier this year or late last year? And then I think the B-side on that might be the original version of the song, or the couple of the songs on there. So I buy a lot of Fleetwood Mac, even the old, both the pop stuff as well as the original blues music. So I've got that down on my list as something that I want to pick up. The other thing that I did spot, and it, a few years ago might not have been something that I would have picked up, was it's the 7-inch single Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood, Some Velvet Morning. I'm not a huge Nancy Sinatra fan. I'm not a huge Lee Hazelwood fan, but I really love that song, and I have for quite a few years. And while I don't collect 7-inch records too much, this is one of those things that I feel like, I'm not going to buy full. I don't feel like I'm going to buy a lot of full-length albums from Lee or Nancy. So, this feels like the appropriate format to buy it on. Looking a little further down on that limited run list, the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed. So if you recall, when the initial Record Store Day list came out, they had Let It Bleed on it. 900 copies. It's like a collector's edition. I can't remember if it's the 50th anniversary or thereabouts, or they're just repressing it again. But they're hand pouring these with various colors. It comes with a letter of authenticity. It's under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't even, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to go out of my way to get it. It's retailing for like $100 plus. My shop, they had the sticker prices for everything, and they have it listed at $108.99. So it's kind of a steep price. It's one of those things where if it's there when I get there, I'll buy it. And I don't know if I would actually spin it or if that one just goes on a shelf and becomes a collector's item. I'm not a flipper. I don't believe in flipping. But I almost feel like, you can get a copy of Let It Bleed for like $20, give or take. And if I want to listen to it, I'll do that. It just almost feels like more of an investment opportunity than something that I'd want to spin on a regular basis. So, it's on my list as a possibility. I think if it happens to be available when I get there, I probably would snatch it up, just to hang on to that one and see what happens. But it's certainly not one I'm going to go crazy to go after if I can't get a hold of it. Rolling Stone fans are crazy, and I imagine there'll be, my shop will probably at best get one copy, and I imagine I won't be. I get online pretty early, but I imagine I won't be close enough online to get that one. A few of the other things I'm looking at on the first release, Chris Cornell 7-inch for Patience. I don't buy a ton of Soundgarden stuff, but I feel like every year, or for the last few years, there's been Chris Cornell releases. I pretty much buy them all. I mean, it's just, I've always enjoyed Soundgarden, and I've always enjoyed Chris Cornell and Audioslave. And that looks like a nice 7-inch single to pick up with the cover of Patience. Fountains of Wayne, Welcome Interstate Managers, first time on vinyl. I think it's got they've got an exclusive pressing of that one, but it is on the first releases, so it's expected to get a wider release at some point. So I know there's only 2,500 copies listed, so I know if I don't happen to get this at some point down the road, I will. Obviously, with the passing of Adam Schlesinger this year, it's kind of adds to the the moment, I guess. It's really been with the pandemic and him dying from COVID, and me being a Jersey guy. I mean, I grew up in Jersey, and that's a New Jersey band, so I feel like I've got to get that one. Also on the list, Amy Mann, Bachelor #2, 20th anniversary. Amy Mann, love her music. I don't have a ton of Amy. I have I think one Amy Mann CD floating around. And I believe that album has quite a bit of the music that she did for Magnolia. So that should be a really nice release. And again, that one's on the RSD first list, so it should be available widely after that. Also taking a look at the Alanis Morissette live album. A lot of the hits. Alanis, I've always been a little bit more of a casual fan. Jagged Little Pill and that thing, and that kind of thing. But it looks like that recording has a lot of her hits from the '90s. So that should be a nice listen. And then the last one, I didn't know what to do on this originally. I saw it and I momentarily got excited thinking that it was going to be maybe an expanded release. And then I looked at it and it's basically just a repressing. And that's Boy, the 40th anniversary edition from U2. Huge U2 fan. I usually pick up anything that U2 releases for Record Store Day. But when I saw that it was, I think it's on maybe white vinyl or a white and black swirled vinyl. I'd have to check that again. But I looked at that and said, do I need to just get a repressing? But then when I looked a little bit closer at it, they're redoing the artwork, the original artwork, and it got me thinking like, well, I do have it on vinyl, but I have the basically that Americanized version of Boy. The international release, which I have on CD, has the Boy on the cover, but for the American audiences, when they released it, and I have an original North American release of Boy, they put that kind of stretched, silhouetted picture of the band members on the cover, which I believe was out of concern of having a boy with no shirt on the cover, which I guess I kind of when you can think of the number of albums from the European market that have gotten changed over the years, I guess it isn't surprising. So the 40th anniversary will restore the original artwork to that. So if it's available, I'll probably pick it up. If not, it's not one of those things that I'm gonna cry over or go searching down flippers to pick it up. And as I said, that's on the RSD first list. So it certainly will most likely get a much wider release down the line. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. What picks do you have on your list? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and we'll talk more soon.